Mathematics. Calculating percentage. Introduction. Percentages are ratios. A fraction is related to the base value or unit. The base value or unit is 100%. A percentage number can be represented as a fraction or a decimal. To calculate percentages, the most important step is the identification of the base value. Now, let's look at an example with numbers. 37% can be represented as 37 hundredths. If it is written as a decimal number, the second digit after the comma is the hundredth, in this case 7. So we write 0.37. 0.7% equals the fraction 0.7 hundredths. Here again, for the decimal, the second digit after the comma is the hundredth. Since the value of the second digit is 0, we write 0.007. 100% equals 100 hundredths, or 1.0. Example. We've got a given amount of bowls, and we want to determine how many percent of the bowls are of the same color. So, first the base value or unit. 6 rows with 6 bowls each, that is 36 bowls in all. Now let's look at the purple bowls. There are 2, so the fraction is 2/36. As a decimal, 0.0555, and as a percentage, 5.55%. Now for the blue bowls, there are 5. The fraction is 5/36, the decimal 0.1388, and the percentage 13.88. Now for the green bowls, we've got 3 of those. As a fraction, 3/36, the decimal 0.0833, and the percentage 8.33. Finally, the red bowls. There are 26 in all, that is 26/36, 0.7222, and the percentage 72.22. Another example. We've got a hi-fi set which costs 127 francs 50 instead of 150 francs. We want to know how much discount we get. This is a direct proportion, and we set up an equation with the 2 relations. On the right-hand side of the equation, we write what we are looking for, and on the left, what we know. We put an x as the numerator on the right. Since we're looking for a discount, we're looking for a percentage. So we put percent as the numerator and francs as the denominator. We know that 100% are 150 francs, and we want to find out how many percent 127.50 francs are. We set up an equation in order to define x. So we multiply by 127.50 on both sides in order to isolate x. On the right we can cancel, leaving x, and on the left we get 85. That is to say 85%. 85% is the price we pay for the hi-fi set, but we're looking for the percentage of the discount. We subtract 85 from 100 and get 15, so the discount is 15%. A problem. We've got a mixture of 1 part syrup and 6 parts water. Now we've got a glass containing 40% of the mixture. The glass will contain 3 deciliters when filled. How much syrup do we have to add so that at the end the mixture will still be the same? First, let's find out how many percent of the syrup we have in the mixture. We set up an equation again. We're looking for x, the percentage. We know that 100% are 7 parts. So we're looking for the percentage of 1 part. We solve the equation for x, and the result is 14.29%. Now for the glass on the right. It contains 40% of the mixture, so 60% are still missing to fill it. We want to find out how much 60% of 3 deciliters are. We can write 60% as a decimal. Of is mathematically represented as multiplied by, so 0.60 times 3 deciliters equals 1.8 deciliters. 1.8 deciliters of the mixture are missing to fill our glass. We know that the mixture contains 14.29% syrup. How much syrup is that exactly? We multiply the decimal 0.1429 by 1.8 and get the result, 0.26 deciliters. So we add 0.26 deciliters to the glass, fill it up with water, and we'll get a mixture that is identical to the original one. The value added tax. The value added tax, VAT, is an indirect tax that has to be paid to the state if a gain is made by sale or service. In Switzerland, the regular VAT rate is 8%. It is added to the base or initial value, i.e. the price including VAT is higher than 100%. An example. The price of something is 100%. The VAT amounts to 8%, so the price including VAT is 100 plus 8, that is 108%. A worker asks for a certain price for his work. The state takes 8% of the value, and the client has to pay the price plus VAT, that is to say 108%. An example. A worker earning 80 Swiss francs an hour works for 5 hours and 30 minutes. The material he needs for the job at hand costs 380 francs. How much will the client have to pay? We've got the working time, 5.5 hours, multiplied by 80 francs per hour. That is 440 francs. Now for the material, 380 francs. The total amounts to 440 plus 380, 820 francs. Now comes the value added tax. 8% of 820 francs is 0.08 times 820, that makes it 65.60 francs. So the client pays 820 plus 65.60, that makes 885 francs and 60. Mathematics. Currency exchange rates. Now, finally, let's look at currency exchange rates. We've got the bank and we've got a client. The bank here in Switzerland sells foreign currencies and the client pays for these currencies with Swiss francs. The other way round, if the client wants to change his euros into francs, the bank buys those euros and gives the client Swiss francs. In order for the bank to make a profit, there are two different exchange rates, one for the purchase and one for the sale. An example. A client in Zurich wants to change Swiss francs into US dollars. The client needs $1,500. In this case, we can see on the table that we need the exchange rate for the sale. Once again, we set up an equation. What we know, what we're looking for, and the x as the numerator on the right-hand side. We know that $1 costs 0.981 francs. We want to find out how many francs we have to pay for $1,500. We solve the equation for x as usual and get our result. 1,471 francs 50. So that is what we have to pay for the purchase of $1,500.